Going on YouTube? It's your boy Devin Coach. Thanks for tuning into the channel. This is day 18 of the 48 days with the 48 laws. Sorry, I know I haven't had these up in the right time, but I'm gonna be caught up today. Um, Law number 18: Do not build fortresses. Protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. The world is dangerous, and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you off from valuable information. It makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Better to circulate among people, find allies, mingle. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. So I don't really need to get very deep into the stories. I mean, copy and the link in the description below if you want to pick something up. But I mean, because both of the stories are pretty much very similar. So one was a transgression, one was an observance, but basically it was like one chose one way of basically they felt threatened and they felt threats coming from the outside. So what they did to protect themselves was they kind of kept themselves hidden and for like the rest of their reign. And that's the way that they maintained their power, was to kind of hide themselves in the vastness of their castle, have a lot of secret passageways, and not a lot of people knew what was going on. The problem with this is that inevitably, um, since you're not really exposed to the day-to-day grind, one, people can be plotting against you, and two, if people are plotting against you, there's no way for you to, one, get the information, but then two, have any balances to whereas if something happens, you're kind of in there with somebody else that can kind of make sure something doesn't happen. So, in the first story, it was something in China. The guy kept himself pretty isolated, and one day he went out and was killed, but like it was almost a secret that he died. Nobody knew he died, and anything could have happened. It could have easily been a conspiracy where they just knew about the fact that nobody really knew their whereabouts. It's like with the police. Like if nobody knows where you are and then you go missing, it's going to be very hard for anybody to find you because that human contact is what puts the story together. And especially in positions of power, if you're isolating yourself, it can kind of be looked at as almost condescending and a reason in itself to rebel. Now, on the other hand, there was a story of Louis, I believe it was the 14th, but basically the one that, yeah, the 14th that created Versailles, he did the exact opposite. He felt pressure and he kept all the gates open. The time that he was king, there was a lot of civil wars, but he kept all the doors open. He actually made sure there was a meeting with everybody where he got together with everybody and pretty much took a pulse on everybody every single morning. So he was always involved. There was no kind of secrets or conspiracies that could go on without him having some knowing about. And this really put kind of a crack or an end to all of that kind of mindset. Now, in the Keys to Power, he really just goes deeper into how this is Machiavelli speaks of it, and things like this. I mean, a lot of times, like, I mean, if you view a fortress, a lot of times it's viewed as something that would protect you, but if you think about it in a strictly military sense, if you build it, it's kind of like a big target. Like everybody knows you're there, you're locked in there, and at some point or another, you're going to need outside information, outside resources, or things like that to survive. So as long as you surround the fortress, you pretty much cut you off from the outside world. So any advancements or anything that you need that's not within your walls, you would now be cut off to. I know Japan. I haven't read too deeply into it, but I know that's what we learned. Is they were isolationists. And a lot of times it kind of kept them from advancing at the same pace as everybody else when everybody kind of had a big proliferation of gunpowder and certain Navy advances. Like I think it was around like the 1800s, 1900s. They kind of lagged in that period because they didn't spend a lot of time reaching out to other people. So that was pretty much where it was going. I mean, the only thing that was in the reversal, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, and with our current life now, with the way technology is, I think it is important to mention, and that's that staying connected all the time does prevent you from having deep thought. Most deep thinkers spend some significant amount of time alone. I mean, a lot of great works are written in prisons. I know Machiavelli wrote The Prince when he was in exile. So Isolating yourself and being away does allow you to have great thoughts, but when you're away too much and you don't keep your ear to the street, you start to lose all proportion. You start to almost go kind of crazy because we are a social creature. So staying within a social context is definitely important just for your sanity alone and coming out with something that will reflect. You can definitely see this in business as well. Companies that kind of lost their roots, or artists, musicians, that they had a root and then they isolated themselves from the people that were paying them that they were very close contact with before. So, um, yeah, isolating yourself is a quick way to pretty much doom. But I'll post this one up. You're probably going to see a bunch more. I'm going to make sure I'm caught up today. I know it's Saturday. So it's your boy Devin Coates. Like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, peace.